I'm going to read you something out I've put on Twitter, and then I'm going to read you something that someone sent to me after they read it. So, one of the reasons, before I start, that I did start blogging was because I saw a lot of people wasting their time worrying over stuff that was either exaggerated, lied about, or simply not true. And I'm seeing it now, and even from our own side. So I'll read you what I've put, and then I'll read what the response was in a WhatsApp to me. So I've written, you're missing the point, and it's a vital point when you talk about controlled opposition. They don't need it now. They're in. They have their men in place right now. They have the King and they have Keir Starmer. It doesn't get much higher up the food chain than that. On the grand scale of globalism, there's no need to pretend to give you a third choice. Rishi stepped down. It was chess. It wasn't an election. There is absolutely no point in giving you a pretend choice in the guise of reform. Reform is a genuine option. The easiest thing for the globalists was to leave the status quo as it is, with the Uni Party and the Lib Dems. They don't care what you think or how you vote. It was a low voter turnout that got Keir Starmer his seat. They've got what they want. Reform is an unwanted boulder, an obstacle in the road, on the road to completion. Now, you've got to see that for what it is. You're a globalist. You're one of the money men. You've got billions behind this, riding on, pushing stakeholder capitalism. The last thing you need to do when you're at the stage that they are, with Trudeau, subsequently Carney in Canada, with the way New Zealand and Australia's gone and the European Union, the last thing you need is to bother, what we'll do, we'll get Nigel Farage to come back into politics, and then they'll think they've got a choice, and then we know he's really on our side. The best thing to do is just not have him anywhere near. The last thing you want to do is risk a popular politician coming back with an option. That just does not make sense. And this isn't me, some smitten kitten, as one very young and immature blogger has called me. I'm only smitten with one person, that's my bloody husband. So don't even come in with crap like that, because it just shows a lack of immaturity and understanding of what's happening to this country. They're in power. The communist thinkers, the stakeholder capitalists are in. Keir Starmer proved it because his first visit was Bill Gates and Larry Fink. There you have it. There's your evidence. That's where we sit. It's called the abyss. We're looking into it right now and we need to stop it. And there's only one set of people that's capable, in the time frame we have, of building a dam. So now I'm going to read you a response from someone very knowledgeable after he read my tweet. Sunak's snap election wasn't about stability. It was a globalist power grab. Let's be honest, Rishi didn't call the election early for the good of the country. He did it to save his skin and sabotage Reform UK before they rode Trump-style wave straight into Parliament. A Trump win in the US would have lit a fire under British populism, just like in 2016, and Brexit here. Trump over there. Reform was building momentum and Sunak knew it. So he hit the panic button early. But it wasn't just about domestic politics. This was a globalist chess game. The Democrats in the US are collapsing. Biden's finished. Kamala's unelectable. The Liberal elite needed a new foothold and Britain was their backup plan. That's why Labour tried to campaign for Harris using USAID funds, corruption on a global scale. Elon Musk even called it out. He exposed how the US aid money was being funneled right back to the UK. To set up a regime more friendly to their globalist agenda, Starmer was the chosen one, a blank slate for the elite to write on. And who showed up to celebrate once Starmer won? Bill Gates and Larry Fink, standing there like they owned the place, alongside other unelected technocrats and billionaire meddlers. They weren't congratulating Starmer. They were welcoming one of their own. This wasn't a democratic election, it was a hostile takeover. That, my friends, is where we sit right now. Now, we do have an opportunity to push back that's actually being filtered and deleted by our own side, by these people who are focused on one particular problem. A problem that will be there for the next 30 years, that we can pick up and handle at any point, because it's always going to be there. But what we have to do, we have to make sure that this globalist leader in number 10 doesn't get a second term in office. That's the goal here. And there is absolutely no common sense in thinking that they have any need whatsoever to fanny around giving you a choice of a third party. Imagine if reform didn't exist. Imagine if Nigel Farage hadn't come back, because the reason it's picked up momentum is because he's come back. Like him or not, you've got to accept that as a fact. Imagine if it wasn't there, and fast forward to 2029. Think about this. What would happen? More people would be even more disillusioned, and there would be a low voter turnout. In fact, the country would be in a mess, because there'd be absolutely no hope. We can't trust the Tories. We've seen that. They've had 14 years, no matter how fantastic Jenner it sounds right now. And the conservative thinking Tories who are still in the party weren't strong enough or vocal enough to stand up to the globalist stooges that have basically infested that party. But there is a massive pushback coming on, because what's happened, these globalist manoeuvres that Starmer's putting into place are even pissing off the likes of Momentum. Because when cultural Marxism is actually getting a grip, the cultural Marxists themselves didn't expect to be hit. They didn't expect the pensioners to be missing out on the winter fuel allowance. They didn't expect taxes to go shooting through the roof. They didn't expect the global corporations having these huge tax bills now because PAYE's gone up. There's so many things happening, and we have to seize this opportunity. And I am no way captured by any individual ever. My biggest fault is that if you tell me something, I will look at you and I will think, I'll decide about that, and then I'll ask probably 6 or 7 people I know that might be more expert in that area, whatever it is, than I am. And then I'll look at what those respected opinions are when they come back to me and see where I sit. And when I'm forming my opinions and sharing them with you, it's not just me or some silly old bag from the north of England just taking to YouTube again. I've usually spoken to several people in the Conservative Party that are Conservatives. People from the, as usual, my edit breaks are because my dog's kicking off or a postman's turned up. I speak to people at the Bruges Group. I speak to retired Conservatives. I mean small c Conservatives that don't have their party interests on their agenda. And then I speak to other people that I know who have inside information on what's going on rather than just spewing out rubbish. So this is just so that you're not afraid of the wrong stuff and fighting the wrong battles. There is a problem with Islam extremism, but that isn't the problem to fight right now. The problem to fight right now is to stop stakeholder capitalism. It's in power, they've got you, but you still have a chance to push back. Now you can take that chance, or you can fanny around thinking that somebody who hasn't even got a party lined up, with 0 candidates in the council elections, no candidates lined up for anything else, just a lot of hot air and wishful thinking, because that's what it is. When you see people on TV talking, it's wishful thinking. I try and keep it real, because what we need to do, we need to shove them out the way, then we can fight what we want. And just because people are making appealing sound bites on social media doesn't mean they're any further forward in being able to implement that particular request. Not at all, because they will still be faced with the BBC, the Electoral Commission, all the non-government organisations that are in place right now pushing back, the legal aid system, the European Court of Human Rights. There's so many pushbacks. The opposition parties, there's so many pushbacks. the civil service that have managed to scupper every single Tory idea that was any good. Every single one they've brought forward, they've scuppered it. And the big, scary thing is that while you're discussing religions and deportations and all that, we're sat here facing a party that would take us to war, a world war, to cover up their misdemeanours. That's my belief. They would do that. They would see us in a war before they'd let go of power, even to avoid an election. I wouldn't put it past them. That's my thought process. And the race to zero, because the race to zero involves a carbon footprint and the race to zero involves a central bank digital currency. And once you get to that, you've lost control completely. Because every pound you spend, they know where and when you spent it. And if they don't like it, they'll stop you. It's that simple. You'll be ending up spending your money on what they want you to spend it on. And we have to avoid all this. So we have to get something, some structure manoeuvred into place to just reel it all back. So if you see me as captured, this isn't the channel for you. This is just common sense on here. This is just a battle. We're in a cold war with our own government. And we have to sort that out. And these side issues, even the trans stuff, even extremist religions, the side issues. I look at you sometimes and I think, it's like standing back, watching your house burn down and deciding if you like the fireman. Just get your bloody hose out, mate, and put the fire out. That's what I'm trying to do. Now you can either jump on board and we'll work better together, because every time you explain something to people, they'll get it. They'll get it. Even when you go door to door with counsellors, what's happening? People are talking about these very real problems, the cost of everything, which is all part of this manoeuvring to take control away. If you haven't got enough money to spend on what you want, you're losing control, aren't you? Because it's going on your bills, it's going on your insurance, it's going on all the things that used to cost half of what they cost just 12 months ago. So that's what I'm talking about, and that's what you need to latch on to. Fight the battle that will win you the team to fight the rest of the war. And the battle is to get him out, and third party thinking out, and put some vehicle in charge that will have the sensibilities to wind back these zero targets, never go to war, anti-war. That's what you need. And this all needs to be done while Trump's in office. So we have this window, this Overton window, that we must use whilst this sway is coming. And no matter which party you put in front of people, no matter what you think you're going to set up, no matter how much you think any particular party is going to be the one for you, what you've got to remember, and it doesn't matter how much money they get from backers, what will happen in this country is what happened in America. We are in the Biden years right now. And the thing that gave Trump the victory, it wasn't necessarily Elon Musk's involvement, and it certainly wasn't the fact that he was popular when he went to his own rallies. Put that aside. The thing that put Trump in power, that turned that whole country red, was the cost of everything, the lack of jobs, the insecure borders, and to do anything about that, you need a party that's prepared to do it. And at this stage in the game, this country that you live in does not have the policing structure, the army, the FEMA personnel, the Home Guard, the Border Control Force, which is enormous in America, and we have people who are not even armed. We have policemen that can't run because they're too overweight. We haven't got an infrastructure that's capable of doing the things that America has done. So you need to get all that in place to have any effect at all on this country. Dump the College of Policing. There's so many things that can be done and would be done with the right political figure in number 10.